Hi everyone, Dr. Mike here. In this video, we're taking a look at bradyarrhythmias. This is when you have an abnormally slow heart rate below 60 beats per minute. Now you might be saying to me, Dr. Mike, I also have a smart device on my wrist and it says that when I'm asleep, my heart rate goes below 60 beats per minute. Is that a bradyarrhythmia? And my answer to that is... The answer is no, not really. So let's take a look at what we're really referring to. So to begin, we need to understand the following. Again, a bradyarrhythmia is an abnormally slow heart rate, generally considered below 60 beats per minute. However, we can have bradycardia, a slow heart rate below 60 beats per minute, that isn't necessarily deemed a pathology. So let's determine how we identify the difference between each. But to begin, we need to understand that if we look at the heart itself, that we need to understand how the signal or the electrical signal is produced and conducted through the heart, because this is the crux, the core of everything we're going through today. So the first thing is you need to understand that the electrical signal begins in the SA node, which sits sort of at the back wall of the right atrium. So here we have our SA node. And we know that the SA node will send or fire its signal off throughout the rest of the atrial myocardium until it hits this fibrous bit of tissue here that does not allow for any electrical signal to move past it. So it's forced to funnel through another node called the AV node. So this one here is called the AV node. Then the AV node will funnel that electrical signal down into the bundle of His. So this is called the bundle of His, which then splits into left and right bundle branches. And then they fire off into what we term the Purkinje fibers through the majority of the ventricular wall. So these are the Purkinje fibers. So effectively, we have the SA node and the AV node are where signals can be produced, right? Electrical signals can be produced. And then the rest, the bundle of His, the bundle branches, and the Purkinje fibers is where the signal is conducted. So when we have an arrhythmia broadly, it can simply be a problem with electrical production or electrical conduction. And bradycardias are no different, or I should say bradyarrhythmias are no different. So you need to know that it's either an issue, right, with electrical production or an issue with electrical conduction. So production is going to be referring to the SA node predominantly, but it can also refer to the AV node. Talk about that in a sec. And the conduction is the rest of the conduction network. So maybe it's getting blocked, for example. So any issues here can lead to a bradyarrhythmia, an abnormally slow heart rate. And so this is how we're sort of going to divide it. We're going to start by looking at the SA node and issues that can occur here. Now, I know I haven't fully answered your question about bradyarrhythmias versus bradycardias. I will right now, because we're first going to have a look at issues with the SA node that can cause bradyarrhythmias. And the first here is something that we call a sinus bradycardia. Okay, look at that. Sinus, referring to the SA node, bradycardia is simply saying slow heart rate. It's not saying it's not called a sinus bradyarrhythmia, it's called sinus bradycardia, because this can be normal or abnormal, okay? And bradycardia just means slow heart rate. If I call it a bradyarrhythmia, then it's abnormal. So let's have a look. Sinus bradycardia simply refers to when the heart rate is below 60 beats per minute, and it can be with or without symptoms. So if your heart rate's below 60 beats per minute and you don't or do have symptoms, this can be referred to as a sinus bradycardia. Now, what are the different causes? Actually, before we talk about that, we need to understand this. remember that your sinus node sets the rhythm. It's recognized as being the primary pacemaker. It will fire off between 60 to 100 times. So it depolarizes, right? If you don't know what that means, you need to go back. I've done videos on depolarization, pacemaker cells and so forth, but it depolarizes, meaning it sends the electrical signal about 60 to 100 times per minute, which results in a heart rate of 60 to 100 beats per minute. Right? So if it goes below, that's brady, too slow. Goes above, that's tachy, too fast. So what can tell the SA node to slow down? Well, we know that we've got the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system that innervates the SA node. So if we have the parasympathetic nervous system, right? It's going to come down and it's going to innervate the SA node. So that's a neuron coming down. That's what we call the vagus nerve, right? And if that fires off, what's it going to do? It's going to tell it to slow down, okay? But we also have the sympathetic nervous system, also known as an adrenergic neuron, synapsing with it. So this is adrenergic. Right? And if that fires off, it tells the heart rate to increase. This is important to understand because if you're looking at sinus bradycardias, it can be due to either an overactivation of the vagus nerve or an underactivation of the sympathetic nervous system. Now that's not all that causes it, but they're two important causes. So let's have a look here. So various causes of sinus bradycardia can be increased vagal tone. Now, what increased vagal tone means is simply the vagus nerve has too much tone in it. It's firing off too often. And if it fires off too often, it's slowing the heart rate via the sinoatrial node too much. That's resulting in a sinus rhythm. Okay, so it's slowing down below 60 beats per minute. But here's the thing. Increased vagal tone can happen in athletes. It can happen while you're sleeping. Now, is that abnormal? If you're an athlete and your heart rate goes slow because you've got too much vagal tone, is that a disease state? Is that a bradyarrhythmia? What about when you're asleep and your heart rate goes too low because you've got increased vagal tone? Is that a bradyarrhythmia? Well, the thing is, no, not necessarily. And this is the reason why, because of this beautiful equation. Cardiac output equals heart rate times stroke volume. If you're watching this video, you know this equation. Right? Cardiac output is the amount of blood your heart pumps out every minute. It's around about 5 liters. We calculate it by multiplying how many times does our heart beat in a minute versus how much blood do we eject with every beat, right? So if that's around about 70 beats per minute and that's around about 70 mils, that ends up being around about 5 liters-ish, right? So you need to pump out about 5 liters per minute at rest in order to make sure that all the tissues of your body are adequately being fed. Now, if you're an athlete, the musculature of your heart, these ventricular walls get thicker and stronger, which means with every contraction, your stroke volume goes up. So your stroke volume's higher. That means your heart rate can be lower. And you still pump out an equivalent amount of cardiac output. That's not pathological. That's not an issue. So you can have a sinus bradycardia and it's not a bradyarrhythmia if you're an athlete, for example, because you're still pumping out the appropriate amount of blood. Same when you're asleep, the metabolic demand, so the amount of blood that needs to be ejected every minute diminishes. So of course your heart rate can diminish when you're asleep because the metabolic demand, the amount of blood we need, diminishes. These aren't issues. When the issue occurs is if you have a sinus bradycardia and then your cardiac output needs to go up, the demand needs to go up. Something happens where you now need to deliver more blood to the tissues of your body and you now cannot increase your heart rate, well then you can't meet the metabolic demands. That is now going to be a bradyarrhythmia. So, for example, sinus bradycardias, right, can happen due to increased vagal tone. That can be totally normal, right? It can happen due to drugs, for example. And these drugs might be things such as beta blockers or some types of calcium channel antagonists or blockers, calcium channel blockers, right? So let's think about this. Adrenergic, sympathetic nervous system, releases noradrenaline, right, from this neurotransmitter, and that noradrenaline needs to bind to its receptors on the sinoatrial node to activate it. Those receptors are called beta receptors. So if you block the sympathetic nervous system, what's going to override? The parasympathetic, right? Calcium channel blockers. Calcium needs to enter for this signal to fire off. So once the adrenaline binds to beta receptors, it can signal calcium to enter. So you can either block it there, and then that's going to lead to this being depressed and this being more activated. So it's very similar to the increased vagal tone. So you can have sinus bradycardia due to drugs, meaning you take those drugs away, the sinus bradycardia can go away, okay? It can be due to metabolic issues. So these metabolic issues might be hypothermia. So your temperature's too low. If your temperature's low, it slows your heart rate. Or it could be due to maybe something like hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism. Now remember, your thyroid, which is that butterfly-shaped gland that hugs your trachea, it produces thyroid hormone. Thyroid hormone stimulates beta receptors, triggers the production of beta receptors at the sinoatrial node. Less thyroid, less beta receptors, more vagal stimulation dominates, okay? So that can lead to a sinus bradycardia, or it could be due to a structural issue, okay? Structural. Now this structural issue might be something like somebody has had ischemia. They've had an ischemic event, right? An MI, a myocardial infarction, a heart attack, or they have cardiomyopathies, so structural changes that have happened to the heart. Maybe at birth or maybe over time, right? Cardiomyopathies. Now, think about this. If these changes have led to the sinoatrial node just not firing off well enough because of structural damage, can you then fix it? For example, if I have this and you measure my heart rate and you go, oh, I've got a sinus bradycardia, my heart rate, due to the sinus node not firing off fast enough, is below 60 beats per minute, and then you tell me I need to increase my metabolic demand and increase my cardiac output, would I be able to do it if I have a structural change? The answer is no. So this is when a sinus bradycardia really turns into a sinus bradyarrhythmia, right? Because now it's pathological, it's an issue, and that might come along with some symptoms, right? Symptoms might be lightheadedness, dizziness, maybe syncope, fainting, for example. So this is a sinus bradycardia, right? You may or may not need an intervention, right? So these are the causes, but the intervention, maybe you don't need any treatment, or maybe, for example, you do if you can't get that sinus node to speed up. And that intervention might be something like a pacemaker. Now you're going to find as we move through this video that most of the interventions, if they're not pharmacological for bradyarrhythmias, will be pacemakers. It sets the rhythm. It says, okay, I'm overriding whatever the heart is doing. Now, the other thing we need to talk about here is this. Another type of SA node issue that causes a bradyarrhythmia is that of what's called sick sinus syndrome, which is a cool name, but a terrible condition, SSS, sick sinus syndrome. Very similar to sinus bradycardia. However, right, it's still less than 60 beats per minute, okay, same as sinus bradycardia, but it's always going to be with symptoms. And these symptoms include things like dizziness, I'm terrible at spelling, dizziness, confusion, syncope, which is fainting, right? So this is an issue. Now, what's the difference? Well, sinus bradycardia is simply when the sinus node, the sinoatrial node, is just slowing down, okay? Sick sinus syndrome is when the sinus node isn't just slowing down, it's irregular, it's erratic. You don't know when it's going to change, so it might slow down and then suddenly speed up, or it might slow down and fire off slowly and irregularly, right? So with sinus bradycardia, it's slow but it's regular, right? So the P wave that fires off tends to be regular. But if it's irregular and you're getting these symptoms, you now have sick sinus syndrome, okay? Now, this can happen generally due to disease, right? And these diseases can include things like ischemia, maybe fibrosis, so scarring, right? Amyloidosis, so proteins building up when they shouldn't. All these things can affect that SA node, not just slow it down, but make it fire off irregularly. And one of the most common presentations of sick sinus syndrome is something called Bradytachy syndrome, which is often, bradycardia, tachycardia syndrome, right? This is when it goes too slow, too fast, right? So if we were to draw up an ECG of the sinus bradycardias and compare it to the sick sinus syndromes, right? Let's have a look. So sinus bradycardia, it's simply just a slow heart rate. P wave, QRS complex, and then you'd have a long break, P wave, QRS complex, T wave, P. So see how it's regular? The spacing between is regular. That's a sinus bradycardia. But a sick sinus syndrome, such as a Bradytachy syndrome or a tachybrady syndrome, it's going to be something like this, where you have, it goes real fast, and then all of a sudden, real slow. And you're going to have those various symptoms associated with it. So this, how do we treat this sick sinus syndrome? I'm sorry that it's sloping down the whiteboard. How do we treat this sick sinus syndrome? Well, you need to treat the tachy and you need to treat the brady. So treating the tachy, right? Treating the tachy is likely done with drugs, right? So antiarrhythmics. So antiarrhythmics are going to slow the tachy, but then you're going to have the brady overwhelming, so then you'll probably have to put in a pacemaker to address the brady. So these are the major types of SA node dysfunction. Let's now take a look at the next step, which is AV node dysfunction causing bradyarrhythmias. Hi everyone, Dr. Mike here. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. We've got hundreds of others just like this. If you want to contact us, please do so on social media. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Dr. Mike Todorovic, at DrMiketodorovic. Speak to you soon.